Okay, so this is the homepage of the orientation for the service learning and Cape Town. And basically what they've got on this page is just a very brief outline of what they're going to be doing over the 3 weeks. And there'll be dates for that, obviously, just outline the kind of commitment that they need to be making and what the purpose of this is, why we're asking them to do it. Just that they know what they're in for. They'll then start with week 1 activities, and they'll start with Cape Town. And what this is it's a couple of maps, a little bit of information, but it's mostly a little bit about Cape Town's history, just explaining the current shape of the city in very broad strokes, and then kind of going into the city today. But most of the information for what the city is like today are things that they can access through that little red link there to the library, things that they can access in their own time. I'll show you that a little bit later, how that comes up for them to explore. So they have a look in and they see what all is, what the city's about, and then they have this really short little quiz to complete, and it'll be 10 questions, and you can see the questions are really straightforward. What languages are spoken, what kind of public transport do you think they'll use, what are the names of the city. So it's some stuff that they'll know, some stuff that they won't know, but it's really just to try and get them, or to introduce them to Cape Town as opposed to test their knowledge in any substantive way. Then they go into week 1 activities, service learning. And this does 2 things. The one thing that it needs to do is really just speak a little bit about our service learning approach, so that they understand why service learning in Cape Town is a little bit different to service learning in different parts of the world, or different internships that they've done. And what we still need to do for this is just to put a little video together of us speaking about our service learning approach, and our approach particularly in relation to partnerships, that they can understand what that means. Then it also has, that's one component of it, so the principles of the approach. The second component of this is just a little bit of logistics. So explain to them that they're going out 3 days a week, that they are going to be going to the same placements, that they're going to be going for 7 weeks, all of that sorts of things. And then they've got just mine and Janice's contact details, so they can get hold of us if necessary, if there's anything that they have questions about. And then they've got the little quiz again at the end, and it's very similar to the Cape Town quiz, a couple of quick questions. And that they can complete and move on. Then for week 2, the thing here to note again is that there's going to be a little video on how to pick a placement, and that's from past students, just giving them a little bit of advice, giving the future students advice on what to think about when picking a placement. And the activities here really just revolve around getting them to explore what the partner organizations are, and getting them to choose 3 of those. So they can go into the partner organizations and they can click on them, click on the little tab, a couple of pictures, some very brief information about the organization. We've got some YouTubes, both from the organization side, and then we've also done some videoing of students where they just speak about their experience in Cape Town and their experience at their service placement. So that's for all of the organizations. One is COSAT. Here they've just got, again, little videos, and also for some organizations have links to really cool stuff. Like here they've got a guy who's spending a year blogging about his experience at COSAT, so we've included that, for example. Then when they've had a look at all of the organizations all the way down the list, we've got all 24 of our partners, they then have to write their service learning response piece. And that's split up into 3 bits. The first is just tell us a little bit about yourself. The second is then listing the organizations that they would like to be placed at. And then the third component of that is if they've got any anxieties or uncertainties, just to communicate to us in this sort of response piece. And it's all laid out at the beginning that this response piece then is what we use to communicate with our partners to see kind of a way forward in terms of matching them up. So once they've done that, they go through to week 3, and week 3 is primarily just discussion groups. So they go into the discussion group, they pick a discussion group, and these are all based on experiences of past students. And so this one, for example, is about what happens when the ideals of service don't match up with the reality. What do you do then? And then there are a couple of questions for discussion prompts. This one is about taking initiative in your service placements. How do you move from a place of confusion to a place of action? Here, one student recorded her experience and then, included an email that she sent the director of the organization, just to give them something real and concrete to discuss in their discussion groups. After that, really, they've kind of free just to explore the resources. And what we've got here is a library of resources. And this is where you were speaking earlier about it being about Cape Town, where they can really explore, the Cape Town today. They can really explore the issues around what's happening in Cape Town today. And this is where they'll be able to access this information. And there is a link to it in that first week. So here, basically, there's just information on various aspects of Cape Town, and it's all just URLs to external links, and whether it's newspaper articles like this one on the NGO funding crisis, which they can read, or there's, from various different sources. I've tried to include this here. This is from Africa Check, looking at the bucket toilet system in South Africa, because sanitation is a massive issue that they come up against. And so just kind of getting them oriented, but they can go through this material, as and when they please. The last thing then is just to include the BOSP website. So there's a link to that, so they can navigate to the website within the vula framework, and they can do everything that they can do on the website, they can do from here. So it really just helps them to integrate their vula orientation to what they're kind of getting from BOSP side. And that's pretty much it. And that will help them just to select a placement and to just get introduced to Cape Town and to service learning in Cape Town. That's sort of phase 1. And then phase 2 will come once they've got their placement, once they've heard back from me about what their placement is going to be. But that's really only going to be much later on. So for now, this is the only information that they'll have to work with. So it shouldn't be too overwhelming. So that's it.